Tonight, I'm going to talk about how innovation requires crazy people. So many of you have probably seen the Steve Jobs, here's for the crazy ones. This is totally going to rock that. No, probably not, but I'll do my best. So I just want to share with you really what I've learned about working and embracing diversity in the workplace. I think oftentimes we hire people that might think a little bit differently than the rest of us, and we don't know necessarily how to use them, and we end up sort of compartmentalizing them and not extracting the value that we can out of those people. So these are my thoughts on how to prevent that. A little bit about me. I started out my career in consulting. I worked for a tiny startup called Accenture for a long time. And there were zero crazy people there. They used to call us androids because we were basically me times 150,000. And that was a place where I really learned essentially a scalable, repeatable process. So how do we crank stuff out at mass at a certain quality? And that was really great. Near the end of my time there, I started working for an incubator of startups that we had. And I got introduced there to a company called WorkBrain, was one of the final ones I incubated. I eventually went to work there. And I was kind of a young punk when I went to work there, and I thought innovation and craziness, it's great what I'm seeing in this great creative culture, but it's totally not for me. I'm just going to stay on the services side. After 10 or 12 years of out every Monday, back every Thursday, I sort of burned out, and I decided to take an internal job, and I went to work for Symantec in internal product development. And I thought, oh my gosh, like these people are nuts. They're not, the whole world isn't just 150,000 me's, there's a whole bunch of diversity of thought. And that's where I really learned that managing diversity makes a higher quality product at the end of the day. If you can pull things from people's brains and really try and get people working together, you not just get something that's repeatable and scalable on time and on budget, but something that'll blow your mind and revolutionize the market. So then I went and got brave enough to co-found a startup. It was a company called Shift Energy, which essentially sort of changed the energy efficiency space. And my co-founder there would be the first to say that he's not totally hinged. And that's where I really learned to embrace the crazy, if you will. So Charlie was able to think along lines that if you were confined within normal thinking, I would say, you never would have come up to with this solution to a problem. And so the key was figuring out how to take that to market and scale it. Now here I am at Axonify, working with the wonderful Carol Lehman, and we are about to hopefully revolutionize the education and learning sector as well. And we're hiring. So there's my formula, my recipe for innovation. Thank you all. Have a good night. A preview. I don't know how to use the clicker there. Oh, I really can't stay on that slide. Help. Okay. Yeah. So the first thing is willingness. So to me, you've got to be willing to go there. You're gonna want to compartmentalize things and just say, okay, that's not a really good idea, I don't understand it. But I think unless you are the crazy geniuses in your organization, your job is to pull the genius from them. And this is a lot like mining in my mind. You're sifting and sifting through loads and loads of what sometimes feels like crap, and sometimes is crap. But I believe that if you continue to sift, you will find gold at some point. So you've got to be willing and patient enough to go there. Thank you. Okay. And the next one is really management. So you can sift through and find these diamonds in the rough, but you want to embrace the crazy and embrace the chaos inside your organization. Let it get messy, but you never want to let messy out the door. So it's really important to understand what you want your brand to be initially, but you want to make sure that you're testing the things you want to test. As Chris said earlier, you got to figure out what's important. So you have a hypothesis, you put it in front of them, but you want it to be your hypothesis. You don't necessarily want it the crazy ramblings. And the next one, and I feel like Chris and I are like brothers from another mother. But the next one is really about customers. So to me, the difference between a crazy innovative idea and a just plain crazy idea is really customers. Customers have the key to help you mold and shape and polish that idea into something that is relative to the market. So you want to be finding either crazy or innovative or desperate customers, even better, who are willing to vet and validate your idea because their problem is so acute, and that's what's going to bring relevance to your idea. And then you can scale. So you always want to do things that are scalable, but you got a lot of figuring out, as Chris said, first, and that figuring out really comes from customers. And then you want to acknowledge, so this is something I know I've struggled with. Once you've done all the mining and polishing and shaping of the idea and found the customers and done the market, it's easy to start thinking it was your idea and that it was only your idea. And I think, you know, startups and companies these days are taking 5 to 10 years to thrive, and you need these people with you for the long haul, or it'll be the last really great idea that you mind. So it's really important to share that acknowledgement, and I think it's equally important as all those other elements. And I think you can write this down. I trademarked it. I think that's it for me, Derek. You have questions?
Awesome. Thank you, Andrea. Any initial questions from the audience? Come on, there's a few Axonify people. You plug some questions somewhere, right? John?
Yeah. I have a two-part question. The first part is, do you think you're crazy yourself at this point?
Yes.
What do you think, Sean?
I think you're just a little, but that's down the more insane.
I'm definitely crazier than I was when I started in management consulting, let's put it that way.
Okay.
But no, I still don't think that I have that same capacity to think outside the box as some people do, naturally.
The second part is, how do you actually draw the value out of the crazy people if you're not crazy, if you don't consider yourself crazy?
So you have to, my thought is you have to understand the problem you're trying to solve, right? So you understand and you have some experiences that will tell you the problem you're trying to solve, and then everything that you mine, you have to ask yourself, is there a way I can apply it to solve this problem? And if the answer to that is yes, it's worth considering. So it may, when you get to the engaging customers, when you get it shaped up and polished and you say to a customer, would this be a valuable way of solving that problem? The answer may be no. And if it's no 10, 20, 30 times, you pitch it and move on. But I think you got to stay grounded in what is the problem you're trying to solve.
Is there one question over here?
Oh, one question. So it's, is it willingness? And
Willingness, yeah.
Willingness, and then customers and acknowledgement. Sorry, I'm just...
Management, willingness, management, 5 times customers, but that's not really mathematically correct. To the power of scale plus acknowledgement.
Trademark.
Trademark. I feel like Donald Trump. Trademark.
I think it's kind of piggybacking off his question, but you know, I think it's hard to tell if somebody shares that craziness. You know, maybe when you're recruiting for your product team, how do you really identify those people that are going to be able to go on that product journey with you and build the roadmap?
It doesn't necessarily have to be, most people on my team aren't crazy. But I think you have to have it somewhere in your organization. I think you want to hire people who aren't all exactly the same. And then it's the diversity of thought that gives you that adjacency and gives you other ways to draw that out. And I think it naturally kind of comes out. I think the thing about, I don't necessarily go looking for crazy people, but I also don't avoid them just because their idea isn't mainstream, because it's those non-mainstream ideas that end up being the next big idea.
So I have a question. Since I come into your office once in a while,
Derek is one of those people.
and I see like your team obviously has a lot of great energy, a little bit of crazy, and my question is like, how do you structure them and structure the process around it to ensure that that all funnels into the right path? And maybe it's just that formula, but I'm curious just in practice, how do you do it?
That's a great question. I think the key is my team still has deliverables, and deadlines, just like any team that we manage to. So, and most of the innovation, quite honestly, doesn't come from us. It comes from customers, it comes from partners, it comes from the market at large, it comes from thought leaders. So the key is to really we're still delivering to deadlines, and to take the all of the ideas that come in and stack them up against that. Okay, but how could this actually drive value for our customers at the end of the day?
Cool.
There's no recipe, we're just crazy, as you know.
What's that? Oh, okay, yeah. Any final questions? Yeah.
I'm intrigued by the plus A. That seems like a crazy idea. Like, what? Can you give a concrete example? What have you seen acknowledgement look like?
I've seen what it doesn't look like. Let's put it that way. So yeah. I mean, I think the key is sometimes we have technical co-founders, and we tend to, as our startups go on, we'll find a role for them, and we kind of set them over to the side. And I think that when we do that, we're detaching ourselves from the people who really understood how technology could be applied to solve that problem. So to me, and sometimes companies at the point cease to innovate, and maybe they're at the size where they can cease to innovate anyway. But I like innovation to carry on. So I think you got to find places for those people that still keep them doing what they're good at. And I think the biggest acknowledgement for them is to keep doing what they're doing, and not feel like, oh, well, thank you for that wonderful idea, but we're going to run with it now. Right?
Great. Well, thank you, Andrea.